weeknights at 8, 7 Central. The Weather Channel. Prime for excitement.
Right now, Washington, Oregon, California, all along the West Coast under the threat of winter weather. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren right now in Seattle. Live report on this snowy situation developing right now.
Yeah, the West Coast will stay wet and very cold through the end of the week. We're tracking the rain, the snow, and the unseasonably cold temperatures.
And believe it or not, we can see some severe weather this week as well. Where and when could you see hail, damaging winds, maybe even tornadoes? We'll tell you next on Day Planner.
Most of our weather action on the West Coast for today, but we are about to see some stormy weather spread across the country. Welcome to Day Planner. I'm Nick Walker.
And I'm Jeff Morrow. Now, the snow started falling early this morning in some areas around Seattle, and we could end up seeing several inches of snow pile up as we head through tonight and tomorrow. In fact, this could be Seattle's first snowfall of 3 inches or more since way back in 1989.
Now we begin with Chris Warren, who's live in Seattle this afternoon. And Chris, not only are we going to see some of that heavy snowfall in the mountains, but already we're seeing it down low as well.
We are already seeing it, Nick, down low. Places north of here, a couple counties north, we've already seen reports of 6 to 8 inches. And while Seattle has seen some snow this year, this is going to be, as you mentioned, a long time since we've seen it this late in the season, possibly 3 inches. So that is what we could see where I'm standing right here on Queen Anne Hill in Seattle. You can see downtown behind me. And in the distance, there's even a little bit of sunshine. However, beyond that, just a little bit farther down the road, there is some snow falling right now. So there's been snow to the north, snow to the south, as the radar is showing right now. And now that we're starting to see the winds pick up, more of a shift from the south to southwest, we're going to see that moisture come up. And as that moisture comes up from the south, we have that very cold air coming down from Canada. When those two get together, that's when we're going to see the heavier snow bands start to develop. We're already seeing the heavy snow in the mountains. We've actually have been seeing that in the mountains. Interstate 90, we have live look. We can show you that there is plenty of white out there. This is Snoqualmie Pass you're looking at, and this is where we have, for many people, you either need to have all-wheel drive or your chains if you're planning to try to head over the Cascades. And we are expecting more snow as well. The wind is picking up right here in the lower elevations. Again, a sign that we are expecting things to change. Road crews have been out there. Schools where we haven't even seen a flake today have already been canceled in some spots here in western Washington. So the preparation, the anticipation of snow is definitely felt here in western Washington. Now we're going to watch this area of low pressure as it develops right down the Olympic Peninsula. We're going to watch that, Nick, go into Oregon, and then eventually we're going to watch that go into California. Of course, that's where Mike Seidel will be in San Francisco, where the North Bay, the hills, under a winter weather watch. So it's a very cold system this late in the year, even though it is still February, Nick. Yeah,
and we're continuing to watch that push southward. So just, I expect to see flakes on your head, Chris, before the day is done. We appreciate it.
We've seen a couple already, just a couple.
Okay. Well, just brush them off and keep going. Hey, we will continue to keep you updated in the Seattle area, as well as southward, too. Chris mentioned that eventually we're going to see this push all the way into California. Might even see a few snowflakes lightly falling around San Francisco. Have not seen that in a long, long time. But look at the broken nature of the clouds here. That indicates how cold this air is. And as this upper level trough continues to sag southward and move eastward, we're going to see more of that colder air overspread the area. So more wintry weather is anticipated. Right now, though, it is pretty much concentrated here, western and eastern Washington, down into the northwestern corner of Oregon and over toward Idaho and Montana, where we're seeing some light snow falling. It'll get heavier, and heavy snow is expected here in the mountains, up to 2 feet here into the Cascades, probably 4 to 6 inches around the Seattle area, over into the valleys. This rain will eventually turn to snow, and we could see 1 to 3 inches. That area under a winter weather advisory, but most of Washington state and much of Oregon under winter storm warnings right now. Even Portland, 4 to 6 inches of snow. That could come late tonight, overnight, and into Thursday. And then farther toward the south, we're going to see that snow begin as well. Medford could see some pile up tomorrow, and we'll see it pile up here around Great Falls, Montana, with 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. Here comes the area of low pressure, gradually moving inland, gradually moving eastward, gradually moving southward, and so it looks like snowy times ahead for much of the west through the rest of the week. Jeff?
All right, so let's take the forecast all across the country because it's going to range from that snow that Nick was talking about to severe weather across the southern plains and parts of the southeast. I think Atlanta will have another mild day tomorrow and a dry day, 70 degrees. Pretty nice here at the end of February. But to the northeast could be a wintry mix around Syracuse, even though the high will get above freezing. Pittsburgh could have some rain and maybe even some flooding if a lot of that snow melts. But there's your severe weather threat where you see the red shading around Little Rock over to Memphis, maybe as far southwest as Dallas early in the day, and northwest Louisiana. Cold to the north, and there's all that wintry mess on the west coast that Nick was just talking about. Nick?
Heavy rain and severe weather are expected over the next few days. We'll tell you which places are at most risk for that hail, for the damaging winds, and yes, even tornadoes. Plus, our coverage of the devastating earthquake in New Zealand continues. Teams from around the globe are rushing to the shaken nation in hopes of helping the survivors. We'll be back with that story. Stay with us.
We began with a sports car. And ended with one. Introducing the TSX Sport Wagon from Acura.
Chronologically, I'm 60 years old. Is it the new 40? I don't know. I probably feel about 30. How is it that we don't act our age?
You keep us young.
We were having too much fun. We weren't thinking about a will at that time. We have responsibilities to the kids and ourselves. We're the Vargos, and we created our wills on LegalZoom.
Finally.
We created LegalZoom to help you take care of the ones you love. Go to LegalZoom.com today and complete your will in minutes. At LegalZoom.com, we put the law on your side.
Medicare. It doesn't cover everything, and what it doesn't cover can cost you some money. That's why you should consider an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. All Medicare supplement insurance plans can help pay some of what Medicare doesn't, so you could save thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket expenses. Call now for this free information kit and Medicare guide. If you're turning 65 or you're already on Medicare, you should know about this card. It's the only one of its kind endorsed by AARP. See if it's right for you. All Medicare supplement plans let you keep your own doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare. There are no networks and no referrals needed. Help protect yourself from some of what Medicare doesn't pay and save up to thousands of dollars in potential out-of-pocket expenses with an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Call this toll-free number on your screen now for this free information kit, including this Medicare guide and customized rate quote.
Weeknights 8, 7 Central, the Weather Channel, primed for excitement. And now, your local on the 8s.
The search for survivors continues in New Zealand. After Tuesday's earthquake shook the nation, the Prime Minister has declared a national disaster, and damage estimates are already up to $12 billion. The Weather Channel's Jennifer Natoso has the latest.
The search continues for survivors of Tuesday's massive earthquake in New Zealand. In Christchurch, rescuers are using heavy machines, dogs, even their bare hands to search through the ruins for survivors. Cheers broke out when one woman was pulled from the rubble after more than 24 hours buried under the debris.
That moment of connection and relief was just palpable.
Meanwhile, authorities called off the rescue operations at the Canterbury Television Building, where an unknown number of people were working when the 6.3 magnitude quake hit.
So the sad fact is that we're moving the resource we've got from this site to other sites where there's a higher probability of life survivability. We still have survivors, we believe, at several other sites. And at the end of the day, we have to make that choice. It's a hard choice.
Many sections of the city of 350,000 are destroyed. Streets were left buckled with huge gaps torn down the middle of many of them. A strict nighttime curfew is in effect in areas of downtown where buildings could still collapse.
Anyone found in the central city after that time will be arrested.
Survivors of the quake comb through the remains of their homes looking for whatever they can salvage. Tourists evacuated from Christchurch Wednesday described the terrifying moments during the quake.
Just everything started going to move like this, and shake, and we knew people were falling on the ground, and we went to run out the one exit, and it filled with dust from the collapse.
Jennifer Natoso, The Weather Channel.
Well, it definitely has been a messy morning commute this morning for drivers around St. Louis. Check out this pileup along Interstate 64 near the downtown area. Police say about 20 vehicles were involved, including a FedEx truck. There was some ice on the highway.
The major problem that we had this morning is it was hard for those emergency responders to get to those vehicles. So there are people that have been out there for 1 to 2 hours and just in these cold conditions. So that's a lot of what was happening, was people needing to get to these ambulances to warm up.
All right, well, the ice is pretty much gone, at least for the time being. Temperatures have warmed up above freezing, so everything we're seeing here from St. Louis, and most of this is very, very light. But remember, it doesn't take much to really cause some bad icing. But fortunately, we're above freezing around Louisville down through Nashville, very light rain. This is kind of a precursor to what's going to be coming. Now, temperatures are near freezing up near Indy and Dayton, but the precipitation has kind of fallen apart there at the present time. So this is system number 1. This is moving its way east, and again, this is very light, and it'll work its way toward the northeast. It's the second low coming out of the southwest, which may really spawn some nasty thunderstorms there in Oklahoma and Texas, rolling